How do corner skills work? By now, many Musume players will know that swinging maestro and other corner skills will only proc on the first corner. However, I've seen a lot of confusion online regarding the possibility of failing the wit check on the first corner and having it proc later, especially regarding skills such as corner acceleration and corner connoisseur. In short, this is not possible. Corner skills will either proc on the first applicable corner or it won't proc at all during that race. If you're too lazy to watch the rest of this video to understand why, then let that be the conclusion that you walk away with. Now, if you actually care about why, we have to look at the proc conditions. Let's take a look at some corner skills on GameTora. You'll see that all of these skills follow the same condition: corner random equals 1, or a corner random equals 2, or a corner random equals 3, or a corner random equals 4. Doesn't this sound like it could proc on any of the 4 corners in the track? Well, as I've said earlier, it doesn't quite work that way, so let's break down what exactly this proc condition means. The way this game reads this proc condition is on a line-by-line basis. First, it'll make it proc on the first corner. If that's not possible, then it'll make it proc on the second corner. And if that's not possible, it'll proc on the third, and if that's not possible, then it'll proc on the fourth. If that's somehow still not possible, then you're probably running on Niigata 1000 meters. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Wait, didn't you just say that it can only proc on the first corner? You just explained otherwise. However, you have to note my wording. I said it'll proc on the first corner, and if that's not possible, then it'll proc on the second, and so on. Let's remember the words not possible and stick them in the corner here for later. Now the question is, what does not possible mean? Won't every track with corners have a first corner? The answer is yes and no. Let's take a look at the Tokyo 2400 meters race course. We start down here on the bottom, with the first corner on the bottom right, the second on the very right, the third on the top left, and the fourth on the very left. This makes sense, right? This is about what you'd expect. But here's the kicker. These corner numbers are static. This bottom right corner is always corner 1, this rightmost corner is always corner 2, and so on and so forth. This means that we can move to a shorter version of the track like Tokyo 1600 meters, and suddenly the first 2 corners are now missing, and the new first corner is actually corner 3. You can even check it out on simulators like the Umulator, and it'll show you the same thing. Corners 1 and 2 simply don't exist on this track. And now if we go back to our proc condition, does it make more sense now? If corners 1 and 2 no longer exist, then it is not possible for the skill to proc there, and therefore it will proc on corner number 3, which still ends up being the first corner that we encounter in the race, relatively speaking. Therefore, corner skills with this proc conditions will only ever proc on the first corner of the track, and if it doesn't proc there, then it won't proc at all. For tracks with multiple laps like Kyoto 3200, the corner skills will never proc on the first lap, so then it becomes the first corner of the final lap of the track. That's just how it is. Don't ask me why, I don't know. Now there are 2 small addendums to this, and those are skills with cooldowns and the skill changes that Japan got. First, it is possible for skills with cooldowns to fire again depending on the track. Some of you may have witnessed this with Professor of Curvature in the Taurus Cup. If it procs early enough on the first corner, the cooldown could expire and it could proc again on the final corner. I'm not entirely sure how the proc conditions function in this case, but if you have knowledge on the inner workings of this game, then feel free to share. Secondly, later in Japan, a lot of these corner skills were changed. Instead of the old proc condition, they were changed to a new one called all corner random equals 1. I won't go in depth about how it works, but in short, it makes corner skills actually proc on a random corner. The racing style and track length corner skills, as well as corner adept, curvature, acceleration, and connoisseur were all changed to this. However, swinging maestro still retains the old proc condition that makes it proc on the first corner. And that's all. I hope this video helped you understand exactly what is going on with these corner skills. Good luck in your next champions meeting.